Thank you for coming into my space of the evolving woman. And like I said, in this space, it's about freedom of expression. And you can't really freely express yourself if you are being controlled by fear. Let's talk about the number one thing that actually prevents all of us from genuinely, freely showing up and freely expressing ourselves. It's called fear. And where does fear come from? The lack of awareness of you as an individual. So for me, the fears that were fed to me mainly came from religion, a bit of tradition, and a bit of my education. I'll go back to the number one source of my fear, religion. Like I've shared already, Christian family, then I upgraded to born again, then I went to Pentecostal, then I went to born again. But every time I progressed, there was less of me and more of the idea of the groups that I had now associated with, the institutions that I now associated with. And each one of them had a fear-based belief. These are just beliefs, they're ideas, they're concepts. Someone fills you up with a fear that if you do not tithe, your money will go. And I wish you knew the story of the tithe. Back then it had to do with making sure that everybody existed in the land, had enough food, because there are those who not till the land. The priest was in charge of the farming crop. Anyway, won't go down there. But do I still tithe? No, I don't. Because I realized someone simply twisted in the New Testament that you needed to give a tenth of your salary so that God could bless you. Long story short, if you really understood where they got the tithe from in the Old Testament, there was the kingship and there was the priesthood and there were the humans. Long story short, you would gather all that you harvested, a bit of it, the tenth, and take it to the priest. The priest then would distribute it to other people who were disadvantaged. You didn't know that. Anyway, back to fear. Anything that has filled you with fear, and some people call it nice fear, is taking, or should I say, is telling you that you have not yet known the truth of who you are. And let me tell you something, if you want to get rid of that fear, do what it tells you not to do. Have you heard? Do what it tells you not to do. Then what? I remember watching, I think it was the Smurfs. There was one of the Smurfs and they were into a battle, a war which we're all going through, the battle of the mind, because everything is mental. And this girl was one of the female dragon warriors. So this blue Muff had never flown a flying dragon, but she needed to concentrate with aiming the arrows. So she gave the ears, which were actually the handles for moving the dragon, to this Smurf who had never flown it. And he says, nah, I can't fly it. And she says, why? I've never flown it. He says, how will you know you don't until you try it out? So my point is, the number one roadblock to self-awareness, self-knowledge, self-regulation, self-realization, self-expression is fear. So I'm tasking you today, sit down and ask yourself, what do I fear and where did this story come from? If it didn't come from you, then investigate whether there's another alternative that can explain what you're doing because you're doing it. I'll give you an example of my job. I love what I'm doing. The word is love. I was born to speak, talk, entertain, edutain. So when you come and tell me to do something out of it, because I'm in an office under you, there's a rebel in me that wakes up. Then when you feed me with fear, you actually force me not to do it. Because what? I found out who I'm all about. I'm ever evolving. So I'm in that space where you can no longer scare me that I'm going to lose my job because I'm not listening to what you want me to do by conforming. If I know I'm showing up and I'm delivering on my outputs, and boy are they delivering, then you will not come here and tell me that, look, I am your boss, I'm over you, and because I'm your boss, you might lose your salary. No, because I know who I'm all about. So I want you to take some time and list the things you have feared in every area of your life. Fear of losing a job, fear of losing a loved one. Let me tell you someone, you will always attract someone who is right for you if you already love yourself. And they also will come because they already love themselves. So you're not looking to fulfill each other, you're looking to complement That's what relationships are all about. So if you come like, oh my God, I'm looking for someone who will fulfill me, who will love me, then you don't know yet who you are. And that someone will come and occupy the identity of who you are. So my point is, list every area of your life you're scared of and ask yourself, where did I get this story from? Then rewrite the script, because fear is simply actually a feedback that you haven't found out who you are. So I'll wrap it up by saying, I'll be showing up in my space, the evolving woman. No, I'm not here to argue about your truth. This is my truth I'm sharing. And because someone was bold enough way back to come and share their truth, is when I realized life is not static. No one defines how much you can fully express yourself, from a good spirit, by the way. The moment you feel something that is negative, then you know you've gone out of alignment of the perfect divine core DNA that you are. So I am sharing here not to argue. It's not about whether I believe in God or not. Like I said, I do believe in a source, but I do not believe in the God I was schooled. This life force, the divine. I'm not here to argue about your truth. This is my truth I'm sharing. And because someone was bold enough way back to come and share their truth, is when I realized life is not static. No one defines how much you can fully express yourself, from a good spirit, by the way. The moment you feel something that is negative, then you know you've gone out of alignment of the perfect divine core DNA that you are. So I am sharing here not to argue. It's not about whether I believe in God or not. Like I said, I do believe in a source, but I do not believe in the God I was schooled. This life force, the divine in me, honors the God in you. So if I come to you and I say the God in me honors the God in you, it's not because I want to scare you. I want you to discover that you create your own reality from self-awareness, self-knowledge, self-realization, self-regulation. And it all starts by questioning yourself. Who am I? Why am I here? When was I created? Where am I going? And who can I become? Nice talking to you.